in transformation, the most sturdy and stable and sustainable transformation I see occur is when it's from acceptance of what is instead of making what is wrong. Like, love what is even while it's in transformation.
Welcome to Are You Satisfied? A podcast that explores what a deeply satisfying and fulfilling life looks like and how to live it. I'm your host, Dr. Sarah Murphy, award-winning naturopathic doctor. My guest today is the wonderful Mary Jo Lorei. She's an accomplished life coach, group facilitator, and a self-mastery mentor with 20 years of experience helping people develop, evolve, transform, and create, not find, their satisfaction. Welcome to the podcast, Mary Jo.
Hello, Sarah. Thank you. I'm so thrilled.
I am so thrilled. I love you so much. It's been a long time. We get to catch up. You are a life coach and have a lot of professional experience in working with human beings on their life and how to be satisfied and happy and living a life they love. I love in your bio here, it says self-mastery mentor.
Yeah, that was actually
I want that.
like a real interesting birthing progress when that came, because it literally, like, between meditation and writing and what do I want to call myself and all that came together. And really, I feel my life was created to be an instrument for other people to find their best version of themselves. So when we talk about, mastery of something, we automatically know it's going to come with reps and tumbles and all of that. And somehow we think we should know who we are without any of that stuff. So self-mastery is just a really fun. It takes the entire lifetime to get to. And sometimes it's nice to have some guardrails or a North Star to help you along your way. So that's where I see myself kind of fitting into the big scheme of things for people. So when people want to get even a higher level of mastery at being their best selves, they seek me out.
I love it. I feel like there's many things we could talk about in discussing what it takes to live a satisfying life, but I think self-mastery is a good starting point, perhaps.
It's a great starting point. It is actually, I'm already getting that kind of energy up the front of my body right now to say the lifelong uncovering of self is so much more fun than figuring out who I am. Because I got to know who I am. I'm trying to find myself. People talk about that. Like, you can hear the grit in it. And they're like as if there's something wrong. When in fact, the longest relationship you will ever be in is with you. And yet, why not? And we forget, for long-term relationships to work, discovery something new, being willing to fall in love again and again, being willing to have resilience when the times get tough. This relationship with self is no different. So when I think about satisfaction, and I do love your come from about this because I know and love you so much, and when you become a beacon for people to start checking in about a satisfying life, like, it just was so perfect, Sarah, when I read it and saw it, and then now I get to be a part of it. But that satisfaction, a big piece, I think, that gets missed is thinking there's an arrival before the last breath.
Yes.
There isn't. There's who I am today. I'm not who I'm going to be yet tomorrow, and I'm not who I was yesterday. So why not? Why not just enjoy that part of it? Because that satisfaction of knowing who I am today, and I'm still evolving, I'm still changing it up, new things are occurring, and it just keeps it fresh.
I love it. So is that the secret, is just accepting the moment and being satisfied as is now?
I love that it's secret. I don't know if it's a secret, but one thing I find that's really valuable is, because I'm in the work of transformation, so I do workshops, and I'm doing different languages. I just got to do one this weekend, and I'm working with teens now for the Torch Foundation.
Ooh.
So we had West Coast, we had Australia, we had Tunisia, we had Vietnam.
Wow.
Kids from all those places, because
Wow.
that's one of the things virtual learning is now bringing about is, people can come from everywhere. And that kind of, just that universalness of all of us has been so exciting to fall in love with that. And that inspiration of transformation is my context, not asking anybody to think I know the way, because that's actually part of my self-mastery mentor explanation is I don't know the way, I know a way. Try it on and find your way. That's really what I am about. But in transformation, the most sturdy and stable and sustainable transformation I see occur is when it's from acceptance of what is instead of making what is wrong. Like, love what is even while it's in transformation. And that's my health, my relationships, my career, my world. Because the resistance to what is doesn't give a good foundation to what's coming next. So, like I said, if you take that lens and take a look at places in life, you'll probably see places where you go, yeah, when I was trying to fix what's wrong, it wasn't as sturdy as when I was building on what worked.
Yes. Accepting what is. And yeah, let's talk about, what is transformational work exactly? How would you define that?
Well, transformational work is that highlighting of what do I want to actually redirect? What bend do I want to put in the river? What's the prism of light I want to send a different direction or a different shade? And we are, again, because we're evolutionary beings, we're transforming all the time. So my work and the work of transformation that's out there is about getting intentional about it, so I'm not transforming into something that doesn't align with what I say I want. So the learning I do a lot is experiential. So I remember when I first got into it as a student, somebody said, transformational work is, instead of just reshaping the clay, it's the clay after it comes out of the kiln. Like, it actually, there's something new born. So not just a layering or a reshaping of what is, which I think is really key. So that transformation work is experiential learning, being willing to discover what's working and not working, and being really clear on where you want to go, and then starting to line those things up.
Sounds quite useful for building a satisfying life.
I think so. I think so.
And what does satisfaction mean to you? I've had this conversation with a few people. I'm sure you have some thoughts.
You know, when I hear the word satisfaction, I just hear exhale. It's that moment where you go, ah. And satisfaction, to me, is that more than just accepting what is, enjoying what is.
Yeah.
Including, and I know it sounds counterintuitive because I hear it when I say it, but I know what I feel is even with something I want to transform. Like, I'm really satisfied with my body right now, but I'm currently transforming it. I've been shedding off my COVID-19 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
And like, what my body can do in this process has been amazing, and I'm satisfied with the progress I'm making and what my body does even when I'm not taking care of it, how it keeps showing up. So to be dissatisfied with it is dissing what is. So to me, because I thought about that since we started talking about this, satisfaction has evolved for me because it's not a stopping point, it's an enjoyment point.
And an enjoyment of even the discomfort or pains that come and go, in addition to the things we
can be
like.
It's true.
And how they serve us, perhaps.
It's true. Because there's the serving it, there's the benefit of it, there's the willingness to let go of the suffering. You know, my favorite Buddha explanation of enlightenment is before enlightenment, pain and suffering. After enlightenment, no suffering. So if we're living life, understanding pain will come and don't get attached to it, then it's just part of. And like you said, it can even be included in the satisfaction instead of thinking it's counterintuitive to it.
Yeah. And what do you think, in working with all the people you've worked with, are the important themes? I have two questions. One about the key things that keep people in dissatisfaction with their life, and then alternately, like the important things to recognize or embody in order to, be in satisfaction with our lives.
Yeah, they're really so linked up. Because the one thing that I see occur pretty regularly is when I haven't taken responsibility for my definition. So that compare and contrast with other people, and it's rampant in culture, and I'm not making it wrong, but I'm saying to not be mindful of, we're going to have a lot of FOMO when we're looking at everybody's perfect Instagram lives. We just are. However, if I now am adopting or being irresponsible about choosing my own definition, then I will be floundering, and I'm not going to feel satisfied because I tried on theirs and it didn't fit. I went by their recommendation, or was what I was told by parents, cultures, even groups you belong to that'll say, here's what you should do. And if I'm not responsible for mine, that will lead to dissatisfaction. So I do these Tuesday, I just put out a little something every Tuesday. Originally when I started, they were truth bombs. And then after the spring of 2020, I realized we don't need any more bombs in the world. So now they're called truth seeds.
Oh, that's better. That's better.
Felt more aligned to me. And I just said, if you're going to have it all, you better get clear on what all means to you, because we collapse under that. So satisfaction is be bold. Be bold in discovering, do your homework. What do you like? What really makes you happy? And if people don't agree, and I still think it makes me happy, I know I'm on the right track. I don't need people to agree or disagree.
Yeah.
Either one is okay because I know it's true for me. So we were just talking before you started. My partner and I, after 9 years of being together, he popped the question this year. And I'm completely
Show
Twitter-pated.
everyone the ring.
Oh, please. I just love it. It makes me feel so girly.
There's the ring for anyone on YouTube.
And that, I'm not doing relationship the way I would have planned it in my 20s, but I know what I was planning in my 20s wasn't mine.
Right.
And now I'm having unconventional, and I'm with the guy. If I was going to be stuck anywhere in a stay-at-home situation, like, oh boy, do I love being home with him.
Yeah.
So it's not the way I wanted it. I don't belittle the strife that's come with what's the world's gone through since, spring of 2020. But one of the benefits has been, our old relationship, I traveled a lot. So
Yeah.
a lot of our interaction was, I've missed you so much. Well, that went out the door, so we kind of had to redesign things. Because, wow,
right.
I miss you so much turned into you again.
Right.
But turns
You got
out
what you wanted.
I did, and I, restructuring had to happen. But what was amazing out of it was, yeah, this is the guy I'm so glad if I have to be in the trenches with, if I have to spend endless days together, yeah.
Yeah, and that's finding the gold or the pearls in we were just talking about the discomfort or the pain.
Absolutely.
Or when things are challenging, like, okay, what's the silver lining? What's the upside? There's always an upside.
If we're willing to look.
Yeah.
And if we're willing to understand that, the sides are facets, they're not opposites. Because again, I did have a little bit of guilt about enjoying myself because I knew, and I was supporting people through a lot of suffering when life got yanked out from underneath us in multiple ways. And then, kind of had to true that up with me, that am I allowed to enjoy what I'm enjoying even while I'm holding the pain of my own, others' lives, loss, strife. So, yeah.
So what I'm hearing is that it's very authentic, like finding satisfaction. We need to find our own authentic, true, desires and wants out of life, which might be very different than the status quo and different than our neighbor.
Willing to be curious.
Yeah.
Is this really me, or is this what I've been told I should want?
That's a good question.
And just really kind of listen. Try it on. Oh, you know what? Yeah. That's what I'll say about that.
So being responsible for our lives, taking charge, being bold to acknowledge who we are authentically, curious enough to explore who we are authentically, bold enough to live that and express that, regardless of what the external world says.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be an opposing, because I do see that too sometimes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like in order for me to be bold, it's almost like I have to have an opponent. No, rainbows are bold. Bold doesn't necessarily mean,
fighting the world
in the face of someone that disagrees. No. In fact, I love hearing alternate viewpoints, people that don't agree with what I think satisfaction is, that don't think all is my definition of all. Teach me more about that. I love learning more about that because I'm pretty trued up to what I have, but I'm always open to something new. So if I don't feel like I've got to defend it, then I know I'm on the right track.
Yeah. And just existing can be that expression, existing in an authentic way.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to do anything with it per se. So are there any other key elements that you see in working with people in your workshops or even one-on-one where you know, things that the listeners might need to know about in terms of...
Next time you use the word find, substitute the word create. I'm going to go find my bliss. Really? Why don't you go create it? I'm going to go find myself. Really? Go create it. I'm going to go, like, we look outside as if there's a place or a thing or a whatever. All of the outside stimuli are ours to use for what we want to create. So
Yes.
I do a lot of relationship work, and of course that ramped way up again when people had to start staying home with each other and
Yeah.
people were redesigning their relationships, or people were afraid they weren't going to be able to create relationships. I know you know what I'm talking about. And or that they realized they had to redefine because the vehicle changed. But if you want to have a relationship, like the first time I did a relationship workshop virtually, there was a lot of resistance, a lot of this can't work. We
Right.
can't connect virtually. Well, welcome to why your relationships aren't working, because if you think the vehicle's doing it, then you're missing out. And that's one of the things I'm really stringent about when I work in a relationship is you have got to let go. You're going to find a relationship. You're not. You're going to create it, and you're going to create it every day. And when you stop creating it, it's going to stop having the vitality that you actually want it to have. So that's the other piece I would say when you talk about what I see doesn't work and what I do see does work is being, again, the originator, the creator of, taking that active role. How I'm engaging with life is creating my experience. Life isn't creating my experience, how I'm engaging with life. So now I'm the creator.
Yes. We
that shifts
create
that
our
energy.
satisfaction.
Totally.
I'm going to have to double check all my podcast content and make sure it says create and not find your satisfaction. I'm pretty sure that I did say create. So,
Awesome.
but I'm going to double check that.
Awesome. But we do it though. You know, I mean, how many times have you heard people say, I'm going to find my bliss?
Right. And it's somewhere over there.
Right.
Versus
And
here now, if I just choose to transform and decide that I am.
I did this thing in a workshop one time where somebody said, well, you know, I just know it's like, it's over there. And I go, okay, so where are you?
Where?
She goes, here. And I go, where is it? She, there. I said, okay, so go there.
Go get
So then
it.
she walked there, and I go, where are you now? She goes, here. I go, exactly. You're never going to be there. You're always going to be here. Even when you get there just became here.
Yes.
So that was just one of those funny moments that really kind of brought it home, because we chased the ghost and realized, you know, hey, Dorothy, look down.
Yeah.
You have the shoes.
So in your life personally, it sounds like there's the pandemic and some challenges there, as for everyone, and some beautiful things happening with your engagement and I'm sure other things. So how would you assess your overall life satisfaction personally?
I actually, and I feel shy about this, but I would actually say I'm impressed with my level of satisfaction, especially as much of a chaser as I used to be, because it's still a habit of mine. Like if I'm compromised, like if I'm exhausted or if I'm compromised in any way, like that's an old pattern that'll come in. Dissatisfaction leads me to action. Like that was my old impetus. But the raising my head up and going and looking around and going, how much of my landscape do I love right now? So much, so much. And I am a relationship advocate. It's to me the most important thing in what I would call a successful life. So the level of what I've been able to do in relationship, like who I've got in my life, what I've got going on, even the relationships that are a little challenging or that have evolved or some whose seasons have passed, that's all been occurring. And that level of satisfaction for me is off the charts. My career took a big turn because of pandemic, and in that redesign, like there have been a lot of, I'm just going to say, an abrasive shedding of the old stuff. so the new stuff could come in. But even that, how it came about, is deeply satisfying. And me being involved in something that is both professional and vocational, like that those two have merged, that used to be really agitating because they seemed at odds. To make money from my vocation felt like I was somehow betraying what was a gift of mine should be a gift for the world. But finding my way through that and now realizing that's actually supporting me, support other people, that feels really satisfying right now. The pandemic, as well as the opening up of the issues that have been not open for far too long, has been a humbling place to hone myself as an instrument. So even that, like I arrived at this version of me, I think in some kind of bigger than me plan.
Yeah, I think there's certain things that probably wouldn't be evolving if without the support of the disruption that's happened. So to have gratitude for that, even though it hurts at times.
Yeah.
You mentioned, oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say a big part, like one of the gifts for me out of what happened in the last year and a half has been when infrastructure is missing and we are dependent on exterior structure, what happens when that gets like so violently taken away like it was.
Yeah. That's a gift for us because I think we do need to go within to find, tap into who we are and what is aligned or not or satisfying or not. And this has really forced us to do that.
It did. And again, I don't wish that it happened this way, but it's here. And if you want to use it, that is one of the things to use for is now realizing, again, if I'm dependent here, I've weakened here. Oh, well, how to strengthen here so that whatever comes, I can stay solid. I can actually meet the shifting landscape and the winds that come or whatever metaphor you want to put in here because the resiliency is an inside-out job, just like satisfaction is.
Yeah. And you mentioned a successful life. So how would you define a successful life? Because to me, in a way, living a satisfied life, I think, is a successful life. But are there other ways you would look at that? I'm just curious.
It's a great question because success slides. It's like a sliding scale for me because even my inner debate of impact versus income, I know which one I'd pick. I'll take impact over income, and yet income is part of a successful life for me. So having financial success is part of my success and owning that, that is for me. The satisfaction and success, again, that goes together there professionally is that my work is leaving places better than I found them. That to me is successful. And success is staying autonomous without being, I don't know what the word I want to use is. I still like interdependence. Like I like the way human beings have been designed for and the way we work with each other.
Co-creators?
Really, I think that's the great way to say it. Thank you. That coexist with, when I don't need you, I can want you kind of thing. And I know I can do it alone, but it's better when I don't have to kind of way of living feels like success to me too.
Yeah. Yeah, so what I'm hearing, because to me there's these different areas of life, I guess, or pieces of the puzzle, right? And all these areas that need nurturing, perhaps. And, we get to define individually what's most important to us and where we want to focus. But yeah, there's the financial, there's the relationship, there's the having a meaningful career or purpose or impact on the world, all of these different elements.
Yeah, for sure. And that's one of those things people say success, and I love that you asked that question because we act like it means the same thing.
Right. Money and fame. Done.
Done. Happily ever after. Well.
No. So moving into, we're not quite to 2022 yet, but moving forward, what would you say is your next steps for deepening your satisfaction in life? Is there somewhere you're digging into or an edge you're leaning into or
my next level of what I do, so facilitation, coaching, relationship building, like all of that. So learning is my sweet spot. Like I'm addicted to learning. So like as I'm mapping out 2022, because 2021 so much was getting the finances balanced and getting work reoriented and all of that, and it ended up being a really busy year, and I'm looking at 2022 as is mindful pacing. Like I've already picked out, like generosity has been my word for this year. Mindful pacing is what's coming for 2022. I already know that. So that's really what I'm leaning into. So every time I hear the words work-life balance or how to balance things, that is a big part of it. And of course, I'm hitting this new stride and level in my relationship because is it different? Well, it is because I said so, because I'm totally Twitter pated. Like, again, that just was like, oh my God. The first time somebody called me a fiance, I just about plotzed, and I had to just go run over and grab him and kiss him. And like us getting to have these times about talking about what's really important to us, it's just kind of brought this kind of fun new level to it. And I'm going to be somebody's wife. What does that mean? Well, it means whatever I say it means. So I've been even defining what that means to me. What will this vow that I'm going to be taking, because we are going to do it next year, what this will mean now for the next chapter, the next layer of our relationship is big for me in 2022. And I'm doing a writing project that is coming to fruition. So that my first book should be out, I believe, in November. And so what that will turn into for me 2022 is I want to keep on the writing. I've already started collecting what's going to be the next book.
Oh, wow. Well, you got to go out and launch that book and tour it around, don't you?
I hope so. I hope so.
We'll have to have you back on the podcast.
I would love that.
To talk more about what's in the book. But that's exciting. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm behind you in writing my Are You Satisfied book, but I'll declare it here that that's coming too. I won't give you I won't give you the deadline because I don't know when it is going to be ready. It's a creative process.
It is indeed. It is indeed. And sometimes those labor pains are excruciating.
There's labor pains. Yeah, that's a good way of describing it.
And then there were some days when it felt like an orgasmic birth. So I'm going to say, not resisting the contractions is what I'll say for a creative project. Don't resist the contractions because they come. It's the only way stuff moves through.
This is a general life lesson.
Mm-hmm.
Life is just, I guess, giving birth to.
Yeah, really.
Writing a book, living your whole life, same process.
Contractions are going to come, but it is part of movement, those kinds of things. So
as we come to a close, are there any burning last things that you think our listeners really should know about in terms of living a life that they love and are happy with?
Here's what I want to say. There's nobody better at being you than you. So just know that as you are defining what satisfaction means to you, and that you are a constantly transforming, evolving being. So enjoy the stage you're in, because it's not going to be the one that's next. And love what is, even as you're transforming it. Like, those are the things I just think I can't say enough to people. I really just want to hold humanity in my lap sometimes and say, you're not broken. You're not.
And hug them.
Evolving. Yeah, and just hold them.
Big hug.
And say, yeah, if you knew, like, there's nobody better at being you than you. Now create your life from there. That's really what I want people to know and practice and get your 10,000 reps in. Enjoy being who you are, even if you know there's some things that it's time to tend to or take in a new direction or take to a new level. It's already great. Now build on the great.
And you get to do what you want to do, not what anyone else says.
Yeah, and you might find that there's other people that enjoy it. And when you're lit up, people are drawn to that. They don't need to be an identical light. People are drawn to people that have that kind of self-satisfaction, because there's a radiance to that. That's why I said the first thing when I looked at you when I got on this call, I was like, oh my God, Sarah, you're just radiant.
It might be there's the lights,
Don't you dare. Don't you dare. No, babe, it's your light, for sure. So that's what I really want people to know. And don't besmirch or get too casual with the little joys.
Yeah, the little things.
Because even in the tough times, when a little beam of sunlight does shine on your skin, it's okay to enjoy that even while you're navigating the other stuff.
Yeah, I love it. Mary Jo, I love you. I want to see you in person soon.
Okay, yeah, Jay wants to know when you're coming.
Wonderful.
He still remembers that night, I swear.
I remember that night.
Okay, I don't want people to get the wrong idea. I know. Sarah came over.
Oh, we might need to.
She was going through a living situation, and she came over and just let me spoil her rotten, because I just love when people I love are happy. And Jay just had so much fun. The conversation we had with dinner, and how quick your mind is, and the kind of questions you ask. And so he remembers that evening because it was so engaging.
Yes, you were very nurturing to me in my time of need. Thank you.
It was a pleasure.
Mary Jo, if people want to connect with you further, where can they do that?
MaryJoLorei.com is my website, and there's a sign up there for, to get news blasts. As I said, I put something out every Tuesday on the big three, on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook. That is a current, whatever's happening current in the world, is I'm kind of radiating and connecting to what's happening around me and in me. So little inspirations called truth seeds that just are to stimulate a way of looking at life, to try on, to see if it supports you, elevates you, gets you excited, gets you motivated. So please check that out. I am doing workshops. I self-produce as well as work through other different companies. So look me up if there's something you want to facilitate. I'm also starting to do consulting for people that are facilitating work of their own. So all of that can be found by just looking me up on MaryJoLorei.com, or come find me on Instagram, DM me, and tell me how you're doing, because I'm interested.
Wonderful. We'll put all those links for social media and your website in the show notes so everybody can access them. And thank you so much.
Oh, you're so welcome.
Hug. Thanks for listening to the Are You Satisfied podcast. Links for any mentions from this episode are available in the show notes. If you'd like to connect with me, go to drsarahmurphy.com. That's drsarahmurphy.com. Also, don't forget to subscribe to this podcast. Definitely tell all your friends about it and leave a review. See you next week.